What's up, YouTube? You're Inside the Edge, and I'm back with another video. Today, I'm here with a movie review. Today, I'm going to talk about Gemini Man. I definitely want to keep this trend going. I definitely want to do a whole lot of movie reviews moving forward, just because I love movies and I love talking about movies, so why not discuss it on this channel? And, I'm sure you guys love movies and films as well, so thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the channel. And by the end of this video, if you like this video, make sure you drop a like. I really appreciate it. But with that being said, guys, I'm just going to jump right into it. Gemini Man. This was a movie that with a lot of high expectations. It was released in October 11th of 2019. So, pretty much, I'm sure you guys that are watching this video already seen the movie. So I'm going to give you guys a bunch of spoilers just because you guys already watched this movie. But as of right now, I'm just going to jump right into it. So Henry Brogdon, he's the narrator. He's the main character to this movie. And he's this federal agent that goes after bad guys, guys that are terrorists, people that just do bad things in the world. And he goes after these people and he takes them out. And as we see in the beginning of the film, we see how Henry, he's lined up a couple kilometers away from a moving train to take out his target. And he ends up succeeding. He gets this guy in the neck from several kilometers with a sniper and takes this guy out. And at that point in the movie, we see how Henry is really this assassin guy that's really good with shooting his gun, a tactical and searching type of guy, So he's the real deal, and that's what we see. And, just leading up after that scene, we seen how... the conversation, how Henry talks to Dale, and, he explains to Dale, this job is hard and he wants to retire, and not so much of it being hard, but just the mental part. And I believe Henry also said, 72 kills starts to mess with you, and Dale understood that. And it looks like, Henry just wants peace and quiet. So he ends up going to this docks area, and now he comes across this woman called Danny, which he later reveals that she's worked with the DIA. This was a girl, she wasn't like this innocent college student, this act that she put on. But, they end up flirting with each other. A lot of flirtatious stuff going on right there. But Henry ends up meeting his guy, Jack. And Jack actually reveals to Henry that, hey, the guy that you killed actually wasn't a terrorist. He was actually, he was like some type of architect. I should have put that in my notes of what was his occupation. But this guy wasn't, a terrorist, and what was put in his file that Will thought he was. So, Jack ends up saying, hey, this was a guy that was within our department, within the government. So, you killed a guy that was, very, very important. So even after that conversation, I know Henry looked up and he seen the drone, and he seen Lester and Clay actually, hearing their conversation. And now Clay and Lester ends up finding out that Henry knows that they betrayed him. So it's kind of like, uh-oh, they've been exposed. And later on that day, I believe Jack ends up dying, just because that's how the government does. Once you know too much information, the government will kill you. It happens, we see it in the movie, but it happens in real life. You know too much, they will kill you. So, moving forward, everything starts to rise up, and Henry and Junior is going to be a showdown. So they both meet up with each other, and Henry is running from Junior. Junior is shooting at him from all different places, and they have this battle, and they're running through this area. It's like a Mexican area. I'm trying to remember the location of where they were at. But, we see the fighting scene, the chasing scene with the motorcycle. And that's when the action starts to pick up, which, the movie, what I really liked about this movie as well is things start to pick up really quick. The storyline, at least the plot and everything, all that is within the first 15 minutes of the movie. You start to see the turn that takes. It was almost like, Henry wanted to bow out, but then it's like when Jack told him the news about, the guy he murdered, it's like, oh, now I got to jump back into this. So, the showdown happens where Junior, he's chasing down Henry. Henry, he's, by the way, the guns and the shooting and stuff was pretty good. The chasing scene with the motorcycle and stuff, I felt like some of the clips were off a little bit. The timing was off a little bit. There were times when Henry, if he really, if Junior really wanted to shoot Henry, he could have in point blank range. But I felt like they should have probably did a couple retakes on that fighting scene. But one thing that was kind of like different as well was, Junior was trying to kill Henry with a motorcycle. I mean, this guy was trying to run him over, and I just never seen that before. But they had a crazy, crazy showdown, and yeah. So later on in the movie, they kind of meet up again. I'm just gonna fast forward it a little bit. I know that they end up meeting each other again. They go underneath that tunnel area, and Danny's held hostage, and Henry, he's on it. He hears like the wiretap from Danny, and they end up cornering Junior inside that tunnel area, that water fight, the water scene, you would say, and that's like the next showdown. They tussling and stuff, and Will is trying to explain to Junior, like, you're a clone, you were made up. And, Junior, being young as he is and stubborn as he is, I mean, there was this one part when he said, "Because I'm the best." And Will is looking at him like, clearly you are not the best. That was like a really laughable scene when they were inside the tunnel. But, Junior, that's when we start to see the character he is. And, Junior, this is a guy that, dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of anxiety, a lot of question marks. And I just loved how, Will Smith, I mean, just knowing Will Smith and who he is and what he represents, it was really cool to just see Will, kind of be somewhat of a therapist to Junior, because Junior was fighting all of these feelings that he couldn't explain. So it was just pretty cool to see that scene where, Will is trying to put some common sense to his head, like, you're being controlled by, Clay, you're being controlled by this villain. And they start tussling inside the water scene and stuff, just how stubborn, Junior is, but they start tussling, and he ends up getting Henry. He actually starts drowning him, and Danny has no choice but to shoot Junior, which she does. She shoots him in the arm, and he ends up, fleeing the scene. And, later on, I believe the next cutscene, Junior's talking to Clay, his AKA father. And that is a really, that scene right there was really powerful, because you can see in Junior's face, I mean, he was distraught, when he was hearing everything that Henry was telling him. And when he confronted Clay, his father, about, him being a clone and him feeling like he's been used, I mean, you can just see the detailing on Junior's face, man. You can see him crying. You can see his eyes are red. I mean, that visual of that hurt, and it was a really powerful scene, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for anyone that could somewhat maybe connect to that, I mean, I'm sure they probably felt a little bit about that scene. But yeah, man, father son, that's a really powerful thing, man. Father and son, that's a way of life. As a young kid, we always try to please our parents, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we kind of got from throughout the movie. Junior being who he is, his identity is basically off of how Clay raised him, raised his consciousness up. So but towards the end of the movie, it gets better and better. And I'm just going to kind of fast forward to kind of like the plot of like the ending of Clay and what was his master plan behind this. So, Henry was cloned. So Junior is Henry's clone. And I believe in 97, I believe in the movie, I believe when they talked, he said that Junior was cloned in 97. And so for Clay, the reason why he cloned Junior was because Henry was such a good, he was a good federal agent, and he's been doing it for so long. But as humans, we all, we get older, and we all change and stuff. So Clay wanted to clone Junior to be this assassin, to be able to continue that continuation of working for the federal agency and taking out bad guys. And that's exactly what Junior was. He was this 2.0 assassin. And that was the reason to why Clay designed him. And then later we come to find out when Henry and Junior, when they're fighting, they're fighting the younger self. Once they take the helmet off, they end up seeing that it was a younger version of Junior. And man, it just shows how Clay was ahead of his time. This guy had not only a plan A or a plan B, but this guy had a plan C. So, Clay's reasoning for the cloning was, he wants to create an assassin to make the world better. That was his whole operation. He wanted to have someone that can come in and spare many soldier lives and spare lives by just creating a clone. And that was pretty much, his idea. it's kind of messed up because, you know, you're cloning someone and you're putting into their head that they're this killer, and this is all they are. You know, this is who they are, and it's kind of messed up. You know what I'm saying? And it's dangerous. You know, it took a lot of convincing from Henry to even convince, you know, Junior of who he is and what he represents. You know, so that was pretty much Clay's. That was his whole point of view of why he cloned Henry and Junior, was to, you know, have assassin that can, you know, be a protector, and, you know, have a service to the government and stuff. But, you know, I pretty much kind of want to start wrapping it up. I mean, we're at 10 minutes. If you ask me, you know, what are things that I wish I would have seen more? I think Byron, that character right there, I wish we would have seen more fighting scenes from him, or at least any type of gun showdown. I would have loved to see him use his gun or something, just because I felt like he was all in with them. You know, he was pretty much the only survivor. You know, everyone, you know, Jack was killed off, Moreno was killed off early in the movie. And it just seemed like it was, you know, Danny and Byron, they were all in, you know what I'm saying? He took them under his wing, and I wish, you know, he didn't just die in that scene when they're in the car. I wish he was just more involved in the movie. But, you know, outside of that, I think the ending could have been a lot much better as well. I know with Danny and Henry, you know, the flirtations they had throughout the movie, we were wondering, like, hey, are we going to see, you know, these two, wind up being together in the end? You know, that was something that a lot of us thought and a lot of us hoped that would happen, but it didn't turn out like that, you know. And then with with Junior, he ends up going to college like 6 months later. I mean, it was just kind of random. I don't know if if the director was trying to make it like a family-oriented type of situation or something, but I didn't understand that part. You know, I didn't understand that part of Gemini Man. I wish that they could have did the ending where we could have gotten a part 2. Like, seeing how Henry killed off Clay, I think maybe the Russians or something should have done like maybe some retaliation or something. I mean, there could have been a nice part 2 to this, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty much my takeaway. But as far as the CGI, I know that kind of messed me up on certain scenes. I know that kind of messed up a lot of people. Some people was probably even turned off by this movie because of the CGI. But I thought they did a okay job, you know. Even the younger Will look kind of real. I mean, it was impressive, you know what I'm saying, for what we have for the time we're in. I'm sure we're gonna see a whole lot more CGI movies like this. And yeah, I just want to wrap this up. So with that being said, guys, I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you like about this movie? If I had to rate this movie out of a 5, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. But I want to hear, you know, what are your ratings for this movie? Let me know in the comments below. Have a good one, guys. Peace out. I think I pretty much cleared out everything. And yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinion. So drop a comment below. Have a good one, guys. Be safe. Peace.